Hey guys, it's Sam here, and today we're going to be looking at Dungeons, Eye of Draconus, an indie title from SuckerFree Games. Before we begin, in the interests of honesty and full disclosure, I am friends with some of the development team and the people responsible for making this game happen. Most notably, William McDonald, the project lead, Eric Gady, aka A Salieri, and Emma Prevost, both of whom provided voice work for the game. I cannot guarantee that I am not biased, and I cannot guarantee impartiality. However, I have done my best to ensure that both of those things are present as much as possible in this video. With regards to the video itself, this is not a bought video by any means. I paid full price for the game upon its release date because I wanted to support those friends. I played the game, I had comments on the game, I wanted to make a video. I was not asked to make a video. Just wanted to get that out of the way because of the whole, stuff with Zoe Quinn and whatever going on at the moment, and, honesty in games journalism, although I would hesitate to call myself a journalist. Anyway, onwards to the actual video! Alright, now that's out of the way, Dungeons is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up, inspired by titles such as Streets of Rage, Turtles in Time, and Golden Axe. Mechanically, it feels different to many of the beat-em-ups I grew up with, offering a wider variety of attacks. Specifically down and up attacks, as well as a character-specific special attack. Regardless of how many attacks you have available to you though, the majority of the game still comes down to mashing the attack button at your enemies until everything is dead. However, this may be more due to a trapping of the genre as a whole. The game sports several boss battles. All are unique and range from being amazingly fun to slightly irritating. There's a couple you fight near the end of the game who have a clear attack pattern, identifiable weaknesses, and are a genuine joy to fight. The first boss, Kobold Commander, on the other hand, requires you to bat his projectiles back at him, Legend of Zelda style. Trouble is, you're fighting his horde at the same time and it can be hard to multitask. This fight is admittedly easier in co-op because one player can focus on the horde while the other plays Pong with the boss. One thing that is true for the majority of the game is that it is an experience best enjoyed in co-op mode with a friend. Playing on single player, it can sometimes become easy to get overwhelmed as the enemy count doesn't appear to be much lower than it is in co-op, if it is lowered in single player at all. The three playable characters are all unique and play very differently to one another. They are identifiable solely by their playstyle, and that's a rare thing these days. The trio are slightly unbalanced, and I found the mage came out on top. He can attack enemies from a safe distance, sure, but his special is to summon a mount. Anyone who remembers Golden Axe knows how useful mounts can be. When this mount dies, you can eat its remains to restore your health. As awesome as it is to see in action, I do find it a bit overpowered. The game's speed is unusual. It may be because the camera is zoomed out most of the time, but it takes too long to get from one side of the screen to the other in a brawl. That said, the game never feels sluggish. The controls are responsive and the actual characters' movement speeds are fine. The game can even feel frantic in the heat of battle, so I really would blame this one on the camera and proportionate scale. The zoomed out camera also means it can be difficult to appreciate the amount of work that's gone into the sprite art in many areas of the game. When we can see it up close, it serves as a loving throwback to the style of all of its influences and is beautifully animated. The environments are digitally painted, meaning you'll rarely see any repetition of assets. Every area has its own unique aesthetic and identity, so there's plenty of variety to go round, and you'll regularly encounter new locations. The only gripe I have with the environment art is that sometimes foreground elements can obscure the action. Pacing-wise, the game very much ended just as I was getting into it. This is part one of a longer story, but the narrative makes it unclear you're questing for a particular MacGuffin, in this case the titular Eye of Draconus, and when you do come across it, its discovery seems very sudden. The credits roll somewhat abruptly after another 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay after that. With regards to the writing, some of the humour can seem dated. However, this title has been in development for 5 years, so I can fully understand why. Others have commented on it being offensive. Personally, I was not offended in the least by any of the game's content. I find it strange how our social culture promotes tolerance and understanding, yet at the same time is also more easily offended now than it has ever been. In summary, if you're looking for a polished, professional, AAA title with great production values, you're not going to find that here. But then you shouldn't expect to find that here. You're shopping around in the indie market, and this is a true indie game. This is made by a small team who spent a lot of nights in each other's living rooms just cramming together and making a game out of the love of it. And that shines through in every single aspect. Sure, it's got its flaws, and I've mentioned a few of them, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, and I think you'd be missing out if you didn't give it a try, especially at the low price point that you can pick it up for.